friends, we're gonna start printing our bugs today. What you're gonna get is your bug back and a foam plate. You're gonna need to stick this on the foam plate so that it doesn't move. So at each table, you're gonna have some rolls of tape. You're gonna take that tape and you're gonna line that bug right on that foam plate. And we're just going to try to not cover any of the drawing of the bug, but we're gonna roll that tape on there on the top, and then you can even do another piece at the bottom if you think you need to reinforce it a little more so it doesn't move. So there we go, we have our bug taped down on our foam plate. Now you're gonna take your foam plate, and on the back, we're just gonna very gently, not hard, we don't want it to push through. We're gonna very gently write our initials so that we know it's ours. I'm gonna take that bug, and I don't wanna push too hard because if I cause a tear in the paper, it's gonna be hard to trace. I'm just gonna go in, add a little bit of pressure, and you'll be able to tell it'll be very easy to go through this paper. Add a little pressure and trace my bug. So everything that I have on that bug, I'm just gentle pressure, I'm going in and I'm tracing everything. I actually switched over to a pen as I was tracing because I found it to be very hard to figure out where I already traced on this. So by using a colored pen, you can kind of tell what areas have or have not been traced. Trying to trace on top of a pencil, that's kind of hard to see. So Miss Plummer's gonna give you a pen for that. And I'm also gonna have you do something before you're done. We're gonna pull that bottom tape off, and we're just gonna check and make sure that everything is traced, because once you pull this paper off all the way, it is extremely difficult to line it back up to where you need it. So I think I've got it all traced. I'm gonna take very carefully, without ripping, that bottom piece off, and I'm just gonna make sure, yep, it looks like, oh, I missed my wing, so I'm just gonna hold that now so it doesn't move on me and trace that wing that I forgot. So we'll set that paper to the side, and now that I have this all traced, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go in and I'm just gonna go back on top of those lines. We'll use the pen again. So you can use either your pencil or a pen, and we're just gonna retrace. Now when you're doing this, you want a decent amount of pressure so we can create some nice grooves that make nice prints. But we don't want to push down so hard that we end up going through the foam plate, or we're pushing so hard that we can't control that pen while we're using it. So you need to find a happy medium. You need it hard enough so that we're making some nice grooves, but you also don't want to go in too gentle. Perfect, that's looking traced. We're now going to use some print making paper. You're only gonna get one, and we'll be able to print this twice. So what I'm gonna do is in the corner, kind of small, is I'm gonna write my name on the back with any kind of writing tool. And I'm gonna put that to the side. I'm gonna take my printing block, and I'm gonna get my ink in my brayer roller. This is called a brayer. And you're gonna have some options, probably about 2 options for colors at your table to use. When we print an art, sometimes I let you clean your plate off and do another color, but for time reasons, we're gonna just stick to one today, especially because we've never done this before. So we have a big piece of ink at the end of this tray. We don't need all of that. So what we're gonna do is just grab near the bottom, and we're gonna roll up and down. And what you'll notice when we roll up and down is it might not be getting the whole brayer. So after we've gone up and down, we're now gonna go across, kind of like we're making a lowercase t in our tray. And that's gonna give us a nice smooth brayer. You don't want anything on your brayer that's gonna look, really chunky. So I kind of notice it looks really shiny and smooth. I'm not seeing a ton of ink wrinkles. So if I pull that brayer off, I can see when I look at it, it's a nice even coat across. So I want to do this quick because the ink does dry extremely fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hold a corner and I'm gonna roll across. And notice how I'm just doing long strokes. You're not even probably gonna have time to go in and get more for too long. If you need more, you'll have to be extremely quick. And you'll notice I can still see the white outline of my bug. That means that I got the perfect amount of ink and it's not getting in the creases. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this paper before that dries and I'm gonna add it on top of the print. But I wanna line it up so the corner of this paper lines up with the print. So I have room later to do a second one. So I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna give it a nice palm massage. And then when I pull this off, what I should have is a nice print of my bug. Look at that. So I'm now gonna take that brayer again. But if we do have extra time, and I am gonna let you switch out colors, usually what I'll have is wipes or a cloth at your table. How you do that is you just kind of push gentle pressure, because if you push too hard, friends, what ends up happening is you scratch your print, your foam plate, and then you'll get scratches when you do your print. So I just kind of go in. It's not gonna completely get it white again. I make sure this is on the messy mat while I'm doing this, by the way, so that anywhere I'm scrubbing off, it's getting on here. And then you can roll a new color. But sometimes we don't have that time, so I just go in, I get more color, just a little bit at a time. I roll it back and forth. I go in, I look, okay, looks smooth, run it across. Might need to, go over it a few times until you notice like there's not really any white areas showing. Line this up. You don't want to print on your last print, so leave a little room and rub. And you'll start to see it kind of come through. And now I'm going to pull that off, and look at that, I have 2 prints. So next week when we glue your bug on your project, you will have the choice of which bug print you want to use.